Fans View, cup of tea tonight. And I'm not letting it go cold tonight. So, there's a bit of Celtic news kicking about tonight that may or may not surprise us all. And it's a bit of interesting Celtic news, and it's no surprise to me, actually. Let me just double. Yeah, I'm not. It's no surprise to me that the breaking news tonight is Greg Taylor. Greg Taylor has decided to leave Celtic. He sees his future away from Celtic, as we all knew. We all knew it was happening. And he's going to Dynamo Zagreb. And the thing is the Dynamo Zagreb thing has been in the pipeline for a couple of weeks. There was a clause, a buyout clause. They decided not to hit the release clause that would have allowed Greg Taylor to leave in the last transfer window. Hence, I did say last night, Brendan Rodgers, after that win, there was something about it. He didn't look happy. Yesterday must have been the day that he was told by Greg Taylor, boss, I'm going somewhere else after the summer. And then hence the reason that Brendan Rodgers is sitting. And I knew there wasn't something sitting right with Brendan Rodgers last night. He was a bit too reserved, there was just something about him. And then that's what it was. So fair play to Greg Taylor. I'm not going to slag him off. He's a player that I said he should have been sold the same way as David Turnbull was sold. So before anybody jumps on the bandwagon and says I'm having a go at Greg Taylor, I'm picking on Greg Taylor, he should have been sold. Celtic were in a position, they should have sold him the exact same way that they did to David Turnbull. They're now allowing an asset that cost us £3 million to walk out the door for nothing because of the inability of Paul Baird. I know the window's still open in Zagreb, but he's not leaving until the summer. I will miss the Scottish Messi. But what it does do is it leaves us in an incredible situation. Right now, Celtic are paying Jeffrey Sloop's wage was 60 grand a week. Celtic are paying half it. Celtic are currently paying 30 grand a week to have a loan player come in between now and the end of the season. It makes a mockery of anything that Greg Taylor was trying to get out of the club. If he was trying to get 25 grand a week, they've just basically told him that he's not worth it. And they've brought in a player on loan that we're not going to sign. I mean, there's not a chance, before anybody says it, doesn't matter how successful Sloop is, there's not a chance of we signing a 32-year-old fullback. Not a chance. Not a chance in hell are we signing him and putting him, and he want at least 30 grand a week. He's not going to drop his wages. He's not going to cut his wages less than half to come to Celtic. He's still on 60 grand a week when he's at Celtic. Celtic are paying 30 grand of it, which is, in our terms, it's a fantastic amount of money. I mean, if we're getting 30 grand a week, we're thinking we've won the bloody lottery. But it is what it is. Tonight's video wasn't meant to be about talking about Greg Taylor, but it is the breaking news. So let me see what some people in the comments are saying about the whole Greg Taylor situation. And I don't want to say it, but I did tell you. So I knew he was going to leave at the end of the summer. I knew he wouldn't take. I knew Celtic weren't going to offer him what he wanted. And it's just one of those things. So fair play to Greg Taylor. I did say in this morning's video that I thought it was strange that people didn't vote for him as most improved, one of the most improved players this year. I think he got 5% this morning. Anyway, Glasgow Boy TV says, is he definitely going? Yep, he's definitely going. Dave Morton's in the house. I want him to leave, but his allegiance to the club is shocking. I don't think it's shocking. I mean, he's been here he's had a hard time of it at the beginning of his Celtic career, remember. Stephen Johnson says, hail Baz. Well, okay, see, you're right, man. Why didn't we just sell him in the transfer market? I did say that was the best outcome for Celtic, but Brendan Rodgers was left in a situation, and it's a situation that's been here since Brendan Rodgers was here the last time. We've been through 2 other managers and they still haven't been able to find out or make an impact in that left back position. Hence the reason that we've went back for Kieran Tierney. Is that now an ideal situation? Whatever the outcome is, at the end of the season, we're still in the market for another. Now, I did say this morning there was a young guy going out on loan for Celtic. Maybe he could come in, Adam Montgomery. Maybe he could come back and force his way in as number 2 to Kieran Tierney. It's a big ask, 22-year-old. It's a big ask, 22-year-old. But we've done it before. We've done it with Callum McGregor. We've done it with Kieran Tierney. We've done it with James Forrest. We've done it with Stephen Welsh. We've done it with Tony Ralston. So it's about time that some of these younger players are given their chance. Gary D says, well, I'm thinking he'll probably sell him. No, we're not going to sell him. We wouldn't sell him because we had no cover at the last minute of the transfer window. Yeah, that's true. It's not his fault, says Gary. No, it's not his fault. He's looking after himself. Gary then goes on to say he's consistently the player I complain about the most, but this situation is on the recruitment team. It is, Gary. It's completely on the recruitment team, this one, and it's one that I've been saying for a while would happen. Just going by the way that Celtic, and I thought that Celtic would have got their finger out and got someone in so that it would have allowed Celtic to sell Greg Taylor, allowing a player of his experience, his value. He was valued at £7 million at one point by Celtic. £7 million. We're letting £7 million of Scottish talent walk out the door. We moan about not getting players in the past, Scottish players in the past, and now we're just letting one walk away for free, which I think is unbelievable by Celtic. And I think that it does explain why Brendan was looking a bit surefaced last night. And I tell you one thing, when they sit and analyse the transfer window like Brendan says they were going to do, I think there's going to be a few unhappy conversations between Brendan and Michael Nicholson. And I just hope Dermot's got his refereeing hat on to make sure that Brendan comes out the winner in this situation. When are the Bayern tickets out? I think they're out, are they not? Wee Greg is good, honest pro. Giving him a break, he deserves that much. I'm giving him a break. It's not Greg's fault, Henry. I completely put this down to the board. I did say that Greg would walk away, and people were saying, no, he'll sign a contract. And I'm like, nah, if he was going to do it, he would have done it by now. It's the exact same scenario. It's played out the exact same as David Turnbull did last year. The exact same way. And David Turnbull was sold to recoup some of the money. And I just think that... Anyway, David Castle says, extra 10,000 a peak. I thought that winning medals and trophies was enough. It's back to the Maggie Thatcher days. Sloop getting 30 bags, I will play for nothing. Let's talk Maida, thinking he's unreplaceable. In my decades of watching Celtic, I've never seen a player like him. Yes. And my biggest fear is that Dyson Maida sold in the summer. Brendan Rodgers said at the beginning of this summer that it was the end of an era. It was the end of an era. Did he mean it was the end of the Ange Postecoglou era? With all the players that he brought into the club? Does he know that Dyson Maida wants away, Rio Hatate wants away, Greg Taylor's leaving for nothing? Does Brendan Rodgers know that? He won't admit it in public, but does he secretly know that that is the situation facing Celtic in the summer? And it's going to be a very, very difficult summer once again. When it comes to getting in players. And the boards give me no confidence whatsoever. Michael Nicholson gives me no confidence whatsoever by the way that he conducts his negotiations when it comes to the transfer talks. He gives me... It's just terrible. Absolutely terrible. When does he go? We'll never see the likes of him again. From first to the minute to the final whistle, his work rate is unbelievable. He's a wonder. Well, we've got him to the end of the season. We do have Greg Taylor to the end of the season, and I'm sure Brendan will be asked about this situation again. Brendan Rodgers is bound to be thinking, just give me one press conference where I could just go into it and talk about the game. that's coming up. You know, it's doing a disservice to the Scottish Cup that now we're now going into the weekend where it should have, the press conference tomorrow should have all have been positive. Should all have been positive, and it should all have been right. We're going to this. This is the Scottish Cup. It's at home. Rafe Rovers are a fantastic club. They're going to bring numbers through for Kirkcaldy. It's going to be a fantastic day for them. It's going to be a fantastic game of football. We're going to get players that don't generally get a game. They're going to get some game time. Everything's positive. Bang. Brendan Rodgers knows that he's walking into the press conference on Friday and going, let's talk Greg Taylor. No, let's not take I fucking don't care about Greg Taylor. I'll work on the players that's here to the end of the season. And Greg Taylor's away then. But anyway, I feel sorry for Brendan because he just doesn't seem to be getting a moment where all he wants to talk about is the team and how they're going to play and the enthusiasm and, you know, everything positive. And we're getting dragged into this negativity that he's going to get asked again on tomorrow. The press conference will be the best part of 10-15 minutes talking about the Greg Taylor situation, which isn't ideal, but it is football. I'd rather the board give Greg Taylor what he wants. He's a great player. He's obviously getting a good bit of money to go to Croatia. This summer's transfer window is going to be interesting. It is that. And Maida's a one-off, purely one-off. Is he a one-off? Is he a one-off? Is Dyson Maeda a one-off? I mean, we said that Henrik Larsson was a one-off, and yeah, you can't put him in the same. But when you look at the stats this year, I mean, I had the stats on this morning. Him and Nico Kuhn aren't that far apart on goals and assists. So I think it's a bit unfair to say that Dyson Maeda is something special compared to Nico Kuhn. I think that the parallels between both, I mean, you can't say the speed of Dyson's way ahead of what Nico Kuhn is. And if Dyson does go this summer, I tell you one thing. Caffrey was the same. He ran up and down for 25 years. Kevin says, what does Taylor want? He wants 25 grand a week. No player will hold the club to ransom. Nobody's bigger than the club. Yeah, that's why he should have been sold. How much does the guy need to live on? If he lives in Scotland, not Dubai or Monaco. He is after 25 grand a week, allegedly. And Maida's contract runs out in 3 years' time, or 4 years. Did he not sign a 5-year deal? Can't remember. I think we still got 3 years of Dyson. So he's at that. Him and Rio are at that stage where I think that those will be the two big ones that are sold this summer. Hank says it's sorry to hear Taylor is off. Always thought he gave his all for Celtic. I know a lot don't agree, but that's football. It is football, and it's. I just think that it shows the lackadaisical approach that they've had to this transfer window, and there must have been whatever Nicholson is saying. I think that Brendan Rodgers would like to sit down with Nicholson and Dermot Desmond and say, look, this guy's an idiot. And I think that's what he's honestly going to say. This guy couldn't fucking, it must be frustrating for Brendan, to say the least. The only good thing about Maeda is he's family orientated and seems to be settled life. I hope that keeps him here for a while yet. And it doesn't really matter if he's that settled. If a bid comes in for him for £20+ million, we know the way that Celtic will go. Celtic will sell him to the highest bidder. They will sell him to the highest bidder, which is just unfortunate. But we've got a game to talk about this weekend. Throw Taylor out the door now, says Paul Baird. Well, they don't want to pay the money for him, Paul. It's as simple as that. They just don't want to pay the money. I don't think we would have got much for selling him anyway. Didn't cost that much and helped us win trophies. Thanks you, man. Well, he was worth $7 million. He was valued at $7 million by Celtic. You would have got $3 million for him easily at the end of the transfer window. We got $3 million for David Turnbull last year at the exact same time. You're getting 2.8. There was a release clause. In Turnbull's contract, and it's been undisclosed what the release clause was. But they decided not to hit that release clause and leave him at Celtic till the summer. When's Taylor off? He's off at the summer. Rebel67 said Cream Buns and Clyde 1 definitely on a register somewhere. Oh, Jesus. Stephen Baz, Greg Taylor has been a great servant to us. Good luck to him. Yes, sure he has that. He has that. I'm not going to slag off Greg Taylor. I think he's been brilliant for Celtic. He's had his moments like a lot of Scottish players a lot of players have. Listen, Rio Hatate has games where he goes missing. Greg Taylor has, you could say the same, but I think, and I've stood by what I've said for a number of months now, that Greg Taylor should have been sold by Celtic in this window. But they didn't get their finger out. They focused far too much on the Tierney, even though Brendan Rodgers thought, right, we'll get Tierney in the summer and we'll deal with that then. The left back position is now a position that we're going to have to go into the summer again, and we're going to have to bring in another player. We're going to have to bring another left back as well as Kieran Tierney. Baz, how do I subscribe? You should be subscribed. If you're on the chat, you should be subscribed. Because it was on subscribers only. Let me go back to the beginning. It's not going to take me back to the beginning. Yeah, you should be subscribed. Or if you may... but Baz, you sent Brendan Rodgers was winning the battle on the board and a while back. I don't think so. Paul, I did say that, and I thought that he was winning and he was getting his way. But I think that seriously now there's another power struggle going on at Celtic Park again. And that's my honest opinion. I think that there's a power struggle going on at the back of Celtic on what type of player Brendan Rodgers wants when he identifies them, and then the availability. And Brendan Rodgers said something, and he said that we could afford players. It wasn't an issue of we couldn't afford a player. But then he then went and said it's the availability and affordability. So you're sitting thinking, well, can we afford the player or can we not afford the player? What was the situation? And who on earth is dealing with dealing with the contract negotiations for left backs? I mean, getting an Alex Bailly in the first place for me didn't make sense. Because we knew that Barcelona didn't want to sell him, and Barcelona still aren't selling him. This nonsense that there's a $6 million clause that he's getting sold to Como is not true. He's going back to Barcelona in the summer, and he's got 2 years on his contract at Barcelona, and they want him to be backup left back position next year. So I always found that a strange one that we went for that. We knew that we needed another left back in, and we went down the loan road again. It seems unbelievable with the amount of players that are in Europe that we cannot pick up a reasonably good left back for between £3 and £8 million and get them into this team. When there was left backs getting sold during the window. Now maybe it's a case that they don't want to come to Scotland. I don't know, or maybe they're not picking the right players. I have no idea. There has to be. I mean, if it was a PLC, there would be a bloody public inquiry about what was going on, because it's went on for far too long. And you're right, Paul. I did say that Brendan Rodgers was winning the battle, and I thought that when you look back at the summer, he brought in Arnie Engels. He did slag the Nicholson and Mackay off. I mean, those are the two culprits. Let's not deviate from anybody else on the board. The two people that are causing all the trouble with contract negotiations is Michael Nicholson and Chris Mackay. They are the two people that deal with contract negotiations. The finance guy and the head guy. That's who deals with the contracts. That's who deals with the talks. And they're the ones that are slowing things down. Brendan Rodgers said in the summer, I thought that the board could act quicker with contract negotiations. When you look how quick and how sarcastic Brendan Rodgers was when the Adamida deal got done. Now we're just going over old ground now, but the same scenario, Brendan Rodgers coming out this window and saying that it was a difficult window. It was either availability or affordability. Which one was it? Because we're sitting with a big chunk of cash in the bank, and we could flip and go out and get Ronaldo to play at left back with the money we've got. Kaiser. Maida is the best since Larson Lowell, says Kaiser. Couldn't just a quick. Dyson runs a lot more. Couldn't just as quick, but Dyson runs more. Yeah, he does that. I met Dyson and John Lewis. We had a conversation in Japanese. He told me he loves Glasgow. You talk Japanese, Jerry? Coyle, you really talk Japanese. Fair play to you. He wants his children to be schooled in the west of Scotland. Said no one ever. I do not. Nobody in their right mind would want their kids grown up in the west of Scotland. Come on. Oh, God. Jerry Cole's just won the internet tonight. Jerry Cole's just won. We're paying 30 grand a week to Schloop. Chowpil. He's on 60 grand a week. We're paying 30 grand of it. That puts it into perspective. Taylor's been a great servant for Celtic. Yeah, he has that. Taylor's had some nightmares passes during games. Yeah, he has that. 30k, no wonder Greg Taylor's pissed. Exactly. When you bring in a loan, I mean, as soon as they brought in, I mean, it must have made Greg Taylor's mind up. They've brought a guy in on loan that's on 60 grand a week, and Celtic are paying 30 it. And Greg Taylor's just went, fuck this. Fucking. Tell them I'm coming. Right, in the summer. Right, done deal. Perfect. Fuck this, I'm off. Greg Taylor's just got right on to his agent and went, nah, bugger this. If they're bringing in somebody, they're paying somebody, a 32-year-old that's never really achieved much in the game compared to Greg Taylor, right? I mean, Greg Taylor is the more experienced, whether you like it or not. He's won more. Greg Taylor's won more than Jeffrey. All right, Jeffrey? Greg Taylor's won more than Jeffrey, and I think that Greg Taylor's bound to be pissed. If he's wanting 25 grand a week and they bring somebody in that's on 60 grand a week to play back up to Greg Taylor, of course you're going to go, fuck this, I'm off, man. I'm off. Vincent says, Maida is Speedy Gonzalez. He scores great goals for Celtic. You try to write a song there, Vincent. And Daniel Duffy says, I think Celtic went half and half with Taylor. Taylor still gets a wage. Everything Dyson does sets him apart. I cannot think of a single player who helps the team in so many areas of the park. How do we then go on to replace Dyson Maida if that day comes? Well, it will come. It will come at some point. We will lose Dyson Maida. I mean, we went on and we managed to get goal scorers to replace Henrik Larsson over the years. We've always managed to get other, and I think we're at that stage again where we're getting emotionally. Think back to what Ange Postecoglou said. He said that don't get too attached. Don't get too attached to your stars. And I think it's maybe time that we started, the foreign ones that aren't going to be here for a long time. It's just, never mind saying we love you long time. We'll love you while we're here, and then when you go, it's fucking who cares, is the reality. Right, I'm going to jump through some of these comments because there's been a couple of... Buzz, love your channel and the content you bring. Here's a wee pint on me. Cheers for that. £5 super chat. Stephen Johnson's coming to super chat also. Big shout out to Stephen. I can reply to these, can't you? No, you can't. Good. Cheers for that, Stephen Johnson, and cheers for that. Eddie says Tierney is injury prone. We'll be lucky to get 15 games a season off him. Hope I'm wrong, but we need cover for him. We need cover anyway. We're going into the season with Kieran Tierney as left back. Looking forward, Kaiser's on, isn't he? I've seen Kaiser. I said last night to you, Brendan Rodgers doesn't look happy. We've just won 6-0. And Brendan Rodgers is like, fair enough, it was a good game. Players done well. Aye. Yep. I'm fucking really just pissed off, and I just want to fucking tell you, Greg Taylor's fucking leaving for nothing. We'll need to fucking back. Brendan going mental inside his head. But anyway, Keith says, "What's wrong with the west of Scotland?" I mean, compared to some places in Spain where you live, it's very nice, but it's better than Fife. Wait, the west of Scotland's not got the beaches that Fife's got. Come on, Keith. Sunshine on Keith. Played for Man City before they had money. Who played for Man City before they had money? Don't worry, I was never attached to Greg Taylor. I'm sure all of you know. Yep, it is. Yep, there is that. Greg needs to think about his move too. The grass isn't greener after leaving Celtic. Chilpil is off after the summer, so I mean all the media are now covering the story. Luis Palma's in the Europa League knockout squad for Olympiacos. I just think that Brendan Rodgers, he must be absolutely really pissed off. Anyway, there's a game this weekend against Rafe Rovers. What changes will Brendan Rodgers make to the team? I think there's going to be quite a few changes to the team this weekend. One of them will be Greg Taylor will get dropped. Is James Forrest back in contention? He's expected to be the only absentee, I think, but we'll sure hear from Brendan tomorrow to tell us. It means the likes of, for me, your Johnny Kenny's going to get a shout, Jeffrey Sloop's going to get a shout, Yang's going to get a shout. They could all start for me. I think my lineup would be, could it be Ralston, Scales, Trusty, Sloop, Engen. I've got a funny feeling that could be the team that he starts with. Let me just write this into here. So this is my proposed team for the weekend. Let's just narrow that down. That's far too small, isn't it? And then change that into the midfield. I wonder if that would do it. There we go. That's my team for the weekend. Ralston, Scales, Trusty, Sloop, Engels, Bernardo McCowan, Maida, Kenny, and Yang. That's my proposed team for the weekend. Missed out the keeper. I've missed out the keeper. I've missed out the goalkeeper, Schmeichel. How could I keep Casper the Ghost out of the team? Will Casper the Ghost get a shout? There's a thing. Will Casper get the shout? I've got a funny feeling Brendan will. Let's put Schmeichel in before Ralston. There we go. There's my proposed team. I better put a little break in between that so that it knows it. Let's just widen that. Step. So yeah, I think that may be the team. Schmeichel, Ralston, Scales, Trusty and Sloop. Bernardo McCowan, Maida, Kenny and Yang. That'll be the team that starts. That'll be the team that starts to give the players that are going to be playing in the Champions League on the midweek game a little bit of a rest. And the rest of the players will be on the bench and they'll come on in the second half. What do you think of that in the comments section? Yet we keep losing the sound. Baz, you need to keep an eye out for monitoring my wood. Help me make it bigger, bro. Monitor your wood. Hank is the super chat. Baz, Rodgers transfers target realistic, and he moved to the next player. Matt O'Reilly, CCV deal, Joe Hart dead, etc. Is Rodgers the problem, not being flexible? No, I don't think that Rodgers I don't think that Rodgers is the issue. I don't think that Rodgers is the issue. Baz, the video's out of sync with the audio. Is it? Shouldn't be. It's not on my side. it's it's not on my side. Don't start that nonsense tonight. Let me listen live on the YouTube side of it. Nah, you're talking nonsense, man. You're talking absolute nonsense. Braz Rodgers, is it him that's to blame? Hank, big 999. Your mic is dodgy. My mic is dodgy. You're dodgy. Your mic is dodgy. My stream is fine. Deal is not dead. What are you talking about? It's their dodgy internet. Yep. It's now that I've refreshed it, but see, there you go. See, Stuart Ramsey's refreshed the page and all's fine. It must be the West Coast, will it? It's that West Coast education, isn't it? More windy modems with handles. Yeah, like the team last night. And anyway, Kaiser says, Baz, the audio is perfect here. There's a little lag just to open, but something on your laptop. There's something opened on your laptop. That'll be all the dodgy porn, won't it? Anyway, Greg Taylor. We've talked enough about Greg Taylor. The lineup. Tell me if that's what you think that the lineup will be. Tell me if that's what you think. The lineup will need the West Coast Wi-Fi. Oh no. Hotline radio. Mine is out, Kaiser. Dave Morton says he's full fibre. It's my end. Dave Morton, I'm on 900 megabits per minute. There is no chance it's this side. Anyway. The lineup's spot on. I think that lineup's spot on, and I think that the score this weekend, even though that we're way ahead, will be Celtic 5, Raith Rovers 0. Celtic 5, Raith Rovers 0. Behave as West Coasters a race. The Russian dwarf army's running their legs off. Oh, Jesus. Honest to God. Right, anyway, that's all the Celtic news tonight. Celtic striker target likely to move before the summer window. Don't tell me. What is this one? Nah, that's Slovakian one. We're not going for him anyway. Somebody must have scored in the Liverpool game because I'm getting notifications. Yep, Liverpool scored against Spurs. What a shame. What a shame. I mean, where are Spurs now? 14th in the table. 14th in the table, and some say Ange's a better manager. Never mind. But anyway, let's get some scores. Let me get some scores up. Angling Ayrshire is going to go 4-0. Stephen Johnson's going to go 4-1. Too many of us having issues. Must be urine Baz. Chilpil, nobody's having issues. Absolutely nobody's having issues. I've just listened to it on YouTube and it's fine. Taylor is away because he won't stand for sloppy seconds. Sloppy seconds. Just a regular Hawks fan is going for 4-0 Celtic. I think Kuhn will start. I'm going to turn that down a bit just to make sure everything's fine here. Stream health. Not a problem with the stream health. A bit rate of 1000 kbs. KBBP. Your current stream bitrate. There you go. That's what the current stream bitrate is. It's nothing to do here. 6-0. 6-0. 6-0. 7-0. 5-0 says Lorna Gallagher. 7-0 says Mark. 8-0 says Brad. 3-0 says Jim McClarty. 6-0 says Gary. 5-0. 8-0 says Paul Baird. 8-0 says Paul Baird. 3-0 Arne Engels penalty. Trust me, Brad, the sound is perfect. I know it is. 10,000 Kisses says, no idea. I was having problems and came in back and find out. Chalpel's never had a problem with the stream before. Well, it's nothing. It's saying that it's higher than the recommended bit rate. Excellent connection. 4-0, 5-1. Wow, that's new. Check out the wee Stephen Johnson. What is that you've done? It's like a little robot, isn't it? That's cool. That is cool. Absolutely fantastic. From Stephen Johnson, Hank, and Niku, Kaiser. Hippo is going for 9-1. 9-1. 20-0 says Stuart Ramsey. 4-1. 5-1. You got to give Rafe Rovers, you got to remember, give Sinisalo a shot. Yeah, will Brendan do that? I think that going for the treble, I think Brendan will want to stick to keeping as solid keeper in as we can. I think I'd like to give Sinisalo a chance, but it's always risky. 3-0 on full rotation lineup, says Big Rab B. Nis. Is definitely 2-1 says Liam. Casper will start. Brendan wants the treble. Yep, that's what I think. Let's all do the huddle. 4-0. Angling Ayrshire is 9-1. Greg Taylor to score and not to celebrate. A bit like Kyogo. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. And on OBS, change the bit rate. Settings. Done that, Kaiser. Changed it around 8,000. It's probably too fast for your internets. That's more like the issue, or your wind-up internets. 3-0. 3-0. I was kidding with the 20-0, says Stuart Ramsey. 9-1. 9-1. Oof, 9-1. 9-1. That would be something else. I'm not too sure what the score will be. It depends what the team Brendan Rodgers obviously puts out. It does. Oh, wait a minute. Anyway, I'm not kicking around much longer anyway, because it is a Thursday night. 8K will be better, bro. Yeah, I've put down at 8K. That's what I've put it to. So Taylor will be dropped. I will drop him. He won't be up for 50-50 tackles. All the Taylor hate is pathetic, and he's been consistently done barely anything wrong, says Ryan the Celt. I've never really seen Taylor hate. Mind you, I'm not reading all the I've not been reading all the comments, but I think that Greg Taylor, all I'm saying is he should have been sold the exact same time as what David Turnbull was last year. That's all I've ever said, and I've stood by that since way before the transfer window opened. I've said that since way back in October, that he should have been sold and we should have got another left back in. It's as simple as that. We didn't. We allowed the left back. We got a left back in on loan, which wasn't ideal. I mean, Alex Baye one was a scrambling about at the end of the market, if you ask me. Ian Aberdeen's in the house tonight again. Ian, you're absolutely you're mental, mate. You're absolutely mental. Have you read Paul's comments? Said Anglin Ayrshire. But Anglin Ayrshire, Paul has been against Greg Taylor since the beginning of the season. He's been against Brendan Rodgers since Brendan Rodgers came back. At least he's consistent with it. I don't mind people when they're consistent with it. It's when people are do it for a fashionable sake. When people dislike players or go against players because they have one bad game, that's what I think is wrong. But when somebody like Paul is consistent in what he says, I don't mind that at all. And I don't think that anybody else should be, because everybody's got an opinion and you're allowed your opinion on the channel. Don't worry, Baz. There's plenty of plenty of Taylor hate. Taylor's pressure. Don't start the Taylor hate. Come on. He should have been sold, and I'll stand by what I says. And I was right. You know, the boards have let Brendan Rodgers down badly, and I've been consistently supporting Taylor. Chill pill, you have. I hear the Taylor hate, especially at away games, Baz. Yeah, some of the fans that go to away games can be a bit vocal, and yeah, I get what you're saying. Ian Aberdeen, you're an absolute legend, man, and you don't need to keep doing it. Honestly, it's you need something else to do with your time, for starters. Taylor's done a decent job for us. He's done. Taylor was not pish. Ian Aberdeen has spoken. He has spoken. And I've only got one love for Brendan and one night stands, because I was out with Brendan Rodgers. I was raging, Baz. The post-game interview. Okay, shite, says Johnny Briggs. Engels to curl the corner after the back post. That'd be an okay, I'll stop. Lol. Don't stop now. He speaks. I think for Greg's only looking after himself at the end of the day. If you're at your job, right? I bet my teas went cold. I do it every time, man. Every time I'm going to have a cup of tea while I'm doing the live, and I never get it. It's usually coffee in the morning, but I've now got a cold cup of tea. If you're sitting at your job, right, and somebody comes in, your boss says, "I'm getting somebody in to help you out," and he comes in and you're on 15 grand a week, like maybe what Greg Taylor is, right? He's on 15 grand a week and he's wanting 25. And somebody comes in and this person's on 60 grand a week. And Taylor goes, "The fuck? What the fuck are you talking about, man?" He's like, "Seriously? You all of a sudden he's American. But he's on 60 grand a week and Celtic are paying half that. And Greg Taylor's sitting thinking to himself, I wish I had that. What you talking about, Lewis? Fucking thing to pop up on the screen. It's good weather in Croatia. It's good weather. It's cheap living in Croatia as well. Cheap living. Not Virgil. He's not KT. The problem for some of the more vocal fans. He's not KT. Well, what happens when Greg Taylor leaves, right? And Kieran Tierney comes back. He comes back and he gets injured. If Kieran Tierney gets injured in the first 8,000. It's not 8,000. I reduced it. If Kieran Tierney gets injured in the first 3 months, he's back at Celtic. What on earth are Celtic going to do? Who are we going to have at left back? We are not taking Jeffrey Schlupp on a long-term contract. We are not taking Jeffrey Schlupp. Jeffrey Schlupp will not go from 60 grand a week down to 25 grand a week to play at Celtic. Not a chance. Kieran Tierney's taken a massive wage drop down to 35 grand a week. That's Kieran Tierney. You're not paying a backup left back more than 20 grand a week. Not at all. Not at all. Taylor won't be remembered, says Johnny Briggs. Push myself out your acting, Buzz. I know I should be on stage, the missus says. And no, she does that. Ian lives at Ribslaw's Den, Northern Long's Rural, South, expensive houses in the street of Scotland. The nation's done nothing to him. I don't believe in that. He better be worth 60 grand a week, so let's wait and see if he's worth it. You're not going to know if he's worth 60 grand a week. Rhythm is the dancer, Sloop is the answer. He wants all the trophies. Kaiser is the chancer. Transfer fees and wages cost more than double the money for what Taylor wanted, and weekly wages. Money men my arse. I think that Sloop was brought in. We all have to agree that Sloop was a last minute panic, complete panic. For whatever reason, they must have thought that they were on the verge of getting a deal for a left back. If it wasn't Kieran Tierney, why would they allow Alex Bailly to return to Barcelona? It doesn't make sense. Now, Celtic decide they say that if the whole thing, if Kieran Tierney was coming back this window, Alex Bailly was allowed to go back to Barcelona. That was it. That was the deal that was agreed. Tierney didn't come back. We released Alex Bailly far too early. We then go in panic mode trying to get in a left back, and we bring in a left back that's 32-year-old. To shut the fans up, Baz, it's as simple as that. Yep. We're in for a Sloop in the summer. Yep, I'm hoping Sloop gets signed next season. I was impressed. He's a baller. Celtic will not buy a 32-year-old to play second fiddle to Kieran Tierney. Not a chance. They will not pay the wages that he will command. He's on 60 grand a week. He's not gone down to under 20 grand a week or 25 grand a week to sign for. Celtic are only paying 25 grand for Greg Taylor. Come on. Put your reality head on here. If Greg Taylor can't get 25 grand a week to stay at Celtic, we are not in the market to pay Sloop 25 to 30 grand a week to sit on the bench whilst Kieran Tierney plays. Not a chance. Not a chance. Too expensive for backup. Is that? Sloop will not be here longer in the summer. No, he won't be. He'll be off in the summer. My donations are for nothing more than Baz is the best YouTuber out there. He makes me laugh. I still have Aberdeen podcast. You've got an Aberdeen podcast? Have you? Do you do an Aberdeen podcast? I've never even been on your channel. Channel activity. No, don't want that. What a channel. No, you've not got. You don't do anything on. You got another podcast that you're looking at. Anyway, I'm annoyed he's leaving on a Bosman. Feel like he's robbing the club. Stevie, that's my thoughts. Exactly. No, he's not robbing the club. He's not robbing the club. What he is doing is he's doing what any decent footballer is going to do. He's at the age where he's got one last big payday. This is his big last chance to make some decent money, and Celtic weren't prepared to pay him that. So you're going to go. I'll keep going on about it. I'll bang on about it. David Turnbull done the exact same. Celtic sold David Turnbull. The inability of the Celtic hierarchy to get in a decent left back in the last 3 windows. I would say the last 3 windows. The inability to get the 2 pies and a bovril. May my podcast. What? Translate that to English. I know he needs to translate everything to English. He's an Aberdeen fan. I'm joking, mate. It's your current bit rate is 8,000. I'm not starting that tonight. Anyway, what time is it? I love Bovril. If you love Bovril, have Bovril. Put some vodka in it. Ian, you call him Baz a clown. What do you mean he's funny? It's Greg's pension fund. It is Greg's pension fund, and I think that, you know, anybody would do the exact same thing, and I'm not going to dismiss. I'm not going to say that Greg Taylor's this or Greg Taylor's that. He's doing what every single supporter, every single guy that you would do, and your work the exact same. Anyway, I am done and dusted for the night. We've been on for 51 minutes, way longer. God's Baz, Bovril and vodka. Angling Ayrshire, it's absolutely fantastic. No, I'm not doing a poll. A poll for the last 5 minutes. I've not even done it right. This end poll, I'm not even doing that. Anyway, cheers, Baz, says Stuart Ramsey. I have done it dusted for this evening. Croatia says it all about him. Coffee and Bovril, it's vodka, it's Vodi Bovril. I wonder if Dynamo Zagreb are going to pay Taylor what he wants. Well, they must do, because he's going there, and that's it at the end of the day. And just like I'm not even going to reheat this tea. Every friggin' night. I take it Liverpool have just scored again. Wait a minute, let me get back onto this. Have Liverpool just scored again? There's notifications flashing up on my screen. No, it's half time. Oh, this must be a cup game. Oh, it's the cup. It's 1-1 on aggregate. Oh, Jesus. Oh, this is the one Ange needs to win, isn't it? Oh, ho, ho. This is interesting. Liverpool are getting beat. Liverpool are winning, sorry. Liverpool are winning. Interesting. Anyway, who cares? It's all about Celtic. Cheers, Baz, and the one Celtic fans view community. Going to go and snort a couple of lines of Bovril. Why would you do that? That's just unbelievable. Baz, chat is paramount to this channel because you make all those bum nuggets part of it. Don't ever change it, bro. I'm never going to change it. Never going to change it. Watch along, Baz, the rest of the game. Do you want to watch the Liverpool game live? Like, should we switch on the Liverpool? I'm not watching 45 minutes of that. Jesus, Bain doing nothing but Taylor has to go. Don't even get me started about Bain. Don't even get me started about Bain. I mean, Bain. Could you imagine? Could you imagine being Jota coming back through the door and going into training at Lennoxtown, first day in, back? Oh, loads of new faces. Ah, yes. Casper's new goalkeeper. Sinisalo, new goalkeeper. Fucking Scott Bain. What the fuck? How are you still here? You're absolute wash. Who's our best winger? Kuhn or Maida? I think you can't argue about that. Hit the thumbs up. Something today says, when we get in the one Barca Boys View channel. Nobody would watch that. They wouldn't, and it's too much hard work. You should do a One Celtic Fans View live show in the Barrowlands treble party. That would be interesting. I'm off, but thank you, Baz, for the best YouTuber on YouTube. I don't think I'm the best on YouTube, but thank you, Ian. And thank you for all the donations that you have made to the channel and making so many people members. I'm going to have to now put out membership content. Cheers for that. You're just making me put out more content, which is fine. It's my job at the end of the day, the missus says. Anyway, Green Eagle Football says, No bother about Taylor. The boy's been a good servant. He won't get a sniff once Tierney comes in. All the best to him. And play Scott Bain up front. You could. Scott Bain gets paid for just. Scott Bain must have nudes of Brendan and Peter Lawwell mud wrestling somewhere on a beach in Thailand. Didn't they just say that on that note? And have a fantastic evening, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world. I don't know what goes on sometimes. I don't know.
Lit. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the Lit. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the Lit. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the Lit. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the Lit. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the